Welcome, dear dreamer. This is Evelyn Blackwood, and you are listening to Midnight Murmurs Radio, a place where voices drift like candle smoke, where stories carry you beyond the weight of the waking world. Tonight, I invite you to sink into the soft embrace of this tale, a guided meditation wrapped in mystery and calm. Before we begin, make yourself comfortable. Lay down where you feel safest. Let your body rest. Close your eyes gently. Inhale slowly and exhale even slower. Feel the tension of the day sliding away, like autumn leaves carried by a quiet river. Tonight, we wander into a story that is both peaceful and touched by the echo of old ghosts. As you listen, allow yourself to drift further from daily thoughts. Each word is a step away from worry. Each breath an invitation into a world woven from history, folklore, and whispered memory. This is your safe space, a place where shadows cannot harm, only guide you into gentler dreams. Now, let us begin. In the heart of America's forgotten countryside, there are fields that once thrived with wheat and corn, barley and rye, fields that shimmered gold beneath a sun that seemed eternal. But seasons pass, and what was once vibrant harvest now lies in silence. The soil remembers, even when people forget. And if you listen close, very closely, sometimes the soil whispers back. On nights like this, when the moon sits low and wide, its light spilling silver across empty furrows, the land feels alive in a different way. The crops are gone, the barns stand hollow, and the scarecrows no longer guard anything of worth. Yet there is still a hum, a low, unsteady murmur beneath the earth, as though echoes of old harvest songs linger where voices used to rise. Imagine yourself walking down a dirt path between these abandoned fields. The air is cool, scented faintly with dried hay and wood smoke. Fireflies pulse like tiny lanterns, drifting lazily across the dark. The ground beneath your steps is soft, forgiving, almost as though it wants to carry you gently forward. Ahead, you see the remains of an old farmhouse. Its wood is weathered gray, the porch sagging, the windows empty like watching eyes. But tonight, it doesn't frighten you. It feels like a memory, an echo of a time when families gathered inside, sharing warm bread and cider. The laughter of children spilling through those very windows. Even the walls seem to sigh, carrying fragments of forgotten joy. The wind shifts, carrying with it a faint sound. Was it the creak of the porch boards, or the whisper of a longo lullaby sung to soothe a restless child? You pause, but there is no unease, only a calm curiosity, as if the land itself wants to tell you a story. Step closer. The porch welcomes your weight with a groan that feels more like acknowledgement than warning. Inside the house, the scent of old cedar lingers. Dust floats in the moonlight like tiny spirits, moving with the rhythm of your breath. The air is still, yet full of presence. In the corner of what used to be the kitchen, a wooden chair rests against the wall. Its seat is polished smooth by years of use, by hands and lives that have long since vanished. You imagine someone sitting there, resting after a day's work in the fields, sipping coffee, staring out at the horizon where the sun bled into endless rows of corn. Their life was simple, yet not without hardship, droughts, storms, and debts that pressed as heavily as the summer heat. Still, in this quiet space, what lingers is not sorrow, but endurance. As you breathe in, you begin to feel the rhythm of that endurance, the steady heartbeat of the land, the patience of seasons, the dignity of labor. It is peaceful here, even in its emptiness. Close your eyes for a moment in the story. Picture yourself seated in that chair, your body sinking into its sturdy frame. Outside, the crickets sing their soft chorus. The wind slides across the fields, brushing the tall grass with a sigh. And in the distance, you hear it, the faintest echo of voices at harvest, rising and falling like waves. But these are not frightening voices. They are tired, warm, and kind. Farmers singing in rhythm to their work, mothers humming to their children, neighbors sharing stories as the day gave way to night. Though time has buried their lives, their presence still lingers, woven into the soil, into the beams of the house, into the air you breathe now. Let that presence comfort you. Let it remind you that every place holds memory, and that memory can be both a ghost and a gift. You are safe here, in the stillness of this harvest night. The ghosts are not here to haunt, but to accompany, to remind, to soothe. As you listen, the hum of the land deepens into something steady, like the rhythm of your own breath. You are no longer just an observer. You are part of the story, a traveler welcomed into the gentle embrace of memory. Allow yourself to rest in this feeling. Let the farmhouse cradle you in silence. Let the fields breathe around you. The night is long, but it is kind, and as your eyelids grow heavier, as your body drifts deeper into calm, know this: the land is holding you, the voices are guiding you, and sleep is only a breath away. Asterisk. The farmhouse breathes with you, its timbers stretching and sighing, as if this structure itself has grown weary over the years. Yet beneath its wear, there is tenderness, like an old friend who still remembers your name. In this stillness, you begin to notice the small details, the kind that only reveal themselves when the world grows quiet. On the mantel above a soot-stained fireplace, a cracked mason jar rests, its glass fogged with age. Inside lies nothing more than dust, yet somehow it gleams in the pale spill of moonlight. You imagine it once held preserves, peaches or apples sweetened with sugar, the taste of summer kept alive for cold winters. For a moment, you can almost taste it, warm and golden on your tongue. A few feet away, a cupboard door hangs loose, revealing chipped plates stacked neatly, as though the family who once lived here intended to return. It's easy to picture them gathering at the table, hands clasped in prayer, voices low and steady, the smell of roasted corn and fresh bread filling the room. The echoes of their rituals linger, soft and comforting, like the brush of a memory against your cheek. Outside the window, the fields shimmer faintly, silvered under the moon. Each row, though empty, stretches endlessly, leading the eye to a horizon veiled in night. There is a strange kind of beauty in their abandonment, a reminder that even silence has its own harvest. Take a breath, deepen is slow. With each inhale, feel the scent of soil and wood linger in your imagination. With each exhale, allow yourself to release whatever burdens you carried into this story. This is not a place for weight, but for release. Now, step gently away from the kitchen and back onto the porch. The boards creak again, but softer this time, as if acknowledging your presence. With a nod of approval, the night greets you with cool air, wrapping you in its embrace. Above, the stars scatter like shards of broken glass, each one glimmering with a memory of its own. As you look out across the fields, you notice something subtle, a faint glow at the far edge of the land. Not harsh, not frightening, but a quiet flicker, like lanterns swaying in the distance. The kind of glow that suggests gathering, community, presence. Follow it. Your steps down the dirt path are slow, steady, in rhythm with the sound of crickets and the occasional rustle of grass. Each footfall feels lighter than the last, as though the earth itself wants you to continue. The glow becomes clearer, line of lanterns, marking what once was a gathering place, perhaps for harvest festivals long ago. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine it. Neighbors arriving with baskets of apples, jars of honey, loaves of bread, still warm from the oven, fiddles playing, children running between rows of corn stalks, laughter rising into the cool night air. It was not always hardship. Here there was joy, too, celebration, gratitude. As you arrive at the glowing field, you notice the lanterns are not fueled by flame. Their light is softer, more ethereal, as if they are lit from within by memory itself. They hover at times, just slightly above the ground, swaying with the breeze, and though no one stands near them, you feel surrounded, welcomed by the unseen. Sit here in the glow of these lanterns. Feel their warmth against your skin. Even though they give off no heat, listen closely. Beneath the rustle of grass, there is a murmur, a collective whisper. Not words, not language as we know it, but something older, woven deep into the fabric of the land. It is a song, in a way, a song of gratitude for each harvest, for every hand that touched the soil, for every life that rose and fell beneath these skies. The song does not frighten. Instead, it soothes, wrapping you in layers of belonging. You are not an intruder here. You are part of the cycle, part of the memory, part of the field itself. Allow your breath to match the rhythm of that murmur. Inhale as the whispers rise, exhale as they fall. Soon, your own breathing becomes another note in the song. Your body, another vessel for its melody. The night stretches onward, timeless, yet you feel no urgency, no need to move. Here, time is patient. It waits with you. Slowly, the lanterns begin to dim, not fading into darkness, but blending into the stars above. Their glow lifts, drifting skywards, until they are indistinguishable from the constellations. And with their ascent comes a stillness even deeper than before. The field grows quiet again, but the warmth of the lanterns lingers within you. Like embers after a fire, you feel safe, held, cherished by the memory of lives long past, yet never truly gone. As you rise to your feet, the dirt path awaits once more, leading you back toward the farmhouse. But you are changed now. The land has whispered to you, shared its memory, welcomed you into its embrace. With each step your body grows heavier with calm, your mind softer with rest. The farmhouse is closer now, and you know when you return, it will not feel abandoned. It will feel alive, carrying you toward sleep as gently as a cradle. Let yourself drift with that thought. The lanterns, the fields, the house, they are part of you now, and you are part of them. Asterisk, the farmhouse greets you again, as though it had been waiting, its silhouette etched against the moonlit sky. Yet somehow, after your walk among the lanterns, it feels transformed, no longer only a relic of what was left behind. It now hums with quiet companionship, as if the walls have heard your footsteps and soft in recognition. Step back inside. The air is cooler now, filled with the faint aroma of earth and dried herbs. Along the beams of the ceiling, bunches of lavender and sage hang as though they were left to dry decades ago. Their color faded, but their presence still soothing. Each sprig seems to whisper calm into the room, releasing a fragrance that slows your thoughts, settling them like dust in sunlight. You wander into what must have once been a sitting room. The hearth here is wide, its bricks blackened by generations of fire. Before it rests a rocking chair, unmoving, yet it carries the impression of constant motion, as if it still rocks, invisibly with the rhythm of memory. You imagine an elder seated there, their voice carrying stories that children listened to with wide eyes, perhaps ghost stories of their own, told not to frighten, but to weave community. Through shared wonder, sit for a moment, if only in your mind, in that rocking chair. Let it hold you. Let this steady, gentle rhythm of an imagined motion calm you like the rocking of a cradle. Each sway is slower than the last, until time itself seems to pause. On the table nearby, you notice something curious. A harvest ledger, its leather cover worn smooth, its pages yellowed and brittle. You run your fingers across its surface, and though you do not open it, you feel what it contains: rows upon rows of names, weights of grain, tallies of corn and wheat. But between those numbers is something greater. Evidence of lives bound to this land. Hands that worked from dawn to dusk, prayers whispered in times of plenty and in times of need. As you rest, you sense the presence of those who once filled this space. They are not sharp apparitions, not chilling phantoms, but soft impressions, like after-images behind closed eyes. You hear the faint clatter of plates in the kitchen, a child's quiet laughter drifting through a doorway, the murmur of a lullaby sung to ease a restless night. None of these sounds are loud. They arrive gently, one after the other, woven seamlessly into the fabric of silence. Listen. The lullaby lingers longer than the rest. Its notes float through the air like smoke curling from a candle. Simple and tender. You don't know the words, but the melody carries comfort and ancient reassurance that all is well, that night is safe, that dreams are near. Allow that lullaby to wrap around you like a blanket, easing the last knots of tension from your body. Now, look again toward the window. Beyond the farmhouse walls, the fields stretch in silver lines under the moon. And as you gaze, you notice something subtle, something you had done seen before, shapes moving slowly across the rows. They are not frightening. They are gentle, vague, like shadows of workers returning to their fields. Bent backs, strong shoulders, hands gathering what cannot be seen. These are the echoes of harvest, replaying themselves in silence, their movements more like a ritual than labor. The air grows warmer, not wheat fire, but with the sense of shared effort, shared endurance. The figures move in rhythm, as though the land itself breathes through them. And as you watch, you realize they are not separate from you. Their rhythm matches your own breath. Inhale with their lifting, exhale with their laying down. You are working beside them, though no weight is upon your hands, no burden upon your back. In this moment, you become part of their harvest. A harvest not of grain, but of stillness, of memory, of sleep itself. Close your eyes. Feel the soil beneath your feet, cool and steady. Feel the weight of the scythe. That is not really there, balanced and light in your palms. With every breath, you gather the unseen, bundling it carefully, laying it in rows across the quiet field. The work is endless, but it is gentle, and with each movement, your body grows heavier with rest. The figures continue their rhythm, their shapes fading and returning like waves against a distant shore, and then, gradually, they dissolve into the silver air, leaving behind only the whisper of their presence. The field is empty again, but it no longer feels abandoned. It feels fulfilled, as though the harvest has been gathered in another form, one beyond sight or touch. You open your eyes, and the farmhouse is still around you. The rocking chair waits. The ledger rests. The lullaby has faded, and yet you are changed. You carry the harvest within you, now the harvest of peace, of rest, of calm. As the night deepens, the stars tilt slowly overhead, their light spilling gently through the window. The farmhouse grows quieter still, like a breath held at the edge of sleep. And as you lie back in that imagined rocking chair, the world narrows to the rhythm of your breathing, steady and slow. Let yourself drift. Let the farmhouse hold you, the fields cradle you, the night wrap you in silence. The story is not ending, it is only moving deeper, guiding you closer to the edge of dreams. Asterisk, the night outside the farmhouse continues to deepen, its silence stretching wide like a velvet curtain. Yet within this silence, you begin to sense texture, soft layers of memory, threads of sound and light woven delicately into the dark. It is not an empty silence, but one rich with presence, the kind of silence that waits patiently to be noticed. You rise gently from the rocking chair and drift once more toward the door. The porch greets you with the cool breath of night air. Above, the moon hangs lower now, a pale lantern suspended in the sky, its glow washing the land in shades of silver and ash. Each blade of grass gleams faintly, each furrow in the earth etched as though with careful brushstrokes. Take a slow breath. Inhale the night, cool and steady. Exhale the last remnants of the day. With each cycle, you step further from wakefulness, deeper into the embrace of the land's memory. Down the path, the fields whisper. You hear them not as words, but as movement stalks brushing against one another, grasses bending beneath invisible hands. The rhythm is patient, unhurried, a lullaby written not in notes but in rustles and sighs. Follow the sound. Your feet touch the earth, soft and forgiving. As you walk, the night reveals more of itself. The fireflies have returned, drifting lazily, like sparks shaken from a hidden fire. Their glow is dimmer now, as though they too are growing drowsy, preparing to rest until dawn. A barn owl lifts from the rafters of a broken shed, its wings slicing silently through the air. Its flight is smooth, unbroken, like a thought carried gently out of reach. The path leads you to the edge of an orchard. The trees here are old, their trunks gnarled, their branches twisted into shapes that reach like open hands toward the sky. Some still hold the withered remnants of fruit, pale and shriveled, yet their fragrance lingers, a faint sweetness, a ghost of autumn's abundance. Step among them. The earth is soft with fallen leaves, each one curling gently as though folded in sleep. When the wind stirs, they rise in a soft chorus, rustling together like the pages of a long-forgotten book. In this orchard, the presence of the past feels especially close. You imagine harvest nights here long ago, lanterns swinging from the branches, baskets filling with apples, laughter mingling with the crackle of a distant fire. You imagine voices lifted in songs of gratitude, the sweetness of cider poured into clay mugs, children chasing one another between the trunks until they fell into the grass, too tired to continue. And now, though the voices have faded, their warmth lingers still. Every tree seems to hold a fragment of that memory, stored deep in its bark, in the rings of its age. Touch one gently, in your mind's eye. Feel its rough texture, steady and enduring. This tree has stood through seasons of joy and seasons of sorrow, and it continues to stand, offering shelter to your wandering thoughts. Close your eyes. Imagine leaning back against its trunk, your body sinking into its strength. The ground beneath you is soft, the air cool, the branches above like a canopy shielding you from the worries of the waking world. Here, time slows even further. Your heartbeat softens. Your breath steadies. The orchard becomes a cradle, rocking you toward rest. As you drift, you notice something subtle, a soft glow between the trees, like moonlight gathering into shape. It is not sharp, not startling. It is gentle, as though woven of mist. Slowly, it becomes the outline of figures, faint as breath on glass. They move quietly among the trees, baskets in their arms, their steps slow and reverent. These are the echoes of the orchard's keepers, the farmers and families who once tended this place. Their faces are not clear, but their gestures are kind. One pauses as if to acknowledge you, and though no words pass between you, you feel welcomed, folded into their circle. They continue their work, not hurried, not urgent, only present, only steady. Their baskets filled with light rather than fruit, each apple-shaped glow tucked gently away, carried as though precious. The orchard hums with their presence, not frightening, but comforting, like sitting with friends who ask for nothing more than your company. You watch them until the shapes soften once again into mist, drifting upward, dissolving into the canopy of stars. Now the orchard is still once more. The trees sigh, the leaves settle, the night deepens. And you remain, resting against the sturdy trunk, your breath slow, your body heavy with calm. Allow yourself to linger here. There is no rush. The land keeps time for you. Its rhythm is older than worry, older than clocks, older than anything that weighs upon your mind. When you are ready, imagine standing again, the orchard at your back. The path ahead glimmers faintly in the moonlight, leading you towards the farmhouse once more. Battistaimi. Walk not as a visitor, but as one who belongs, someone who has been welcome, someone who carries the orchard's calm within them. Step by step, you return. Each breath is easier. Each thought grows lighter. Each moment draws you closer to rest. Asterisk, the path carries you back toward the farmhouse. Though by now it feels less like a house and more like a companion, its walls no longer hollow, its windows no longer empty. The land itself has wrapped you in its memory, and the farmhouse stands as its heart, waiting with patient warmth. As you step onto the porch, the boards give a gentle sigh, not of weariness, but of welcome. The door, slightly ajar, swings with the faintest whisper of air. Inside, the rooms glow faintly in the moonlight, each one softened by shadows that no longer seem lonely. Move slowly through the doorway, breathing in the calm that lingers here. The kitchen still holds the scent of wood smoke and apples, though the air is cool. The sitting room, with its rocking chair and silent hearth, radiates a presence you have come to trust. Every detail is steady, grounding, soothing. You pause in the center of the room and listen, not for voices, not for sound, but for the hum of stillness itself. It is there, beneath everything, a quiet vibration that seems to cradle you, reminding you that you are safe, that you are held, that you are part of this place. Take a breath. Inhale the peace of the farmhouse. Exhale the burdens of the waking day. Let each cycle of breath carry you deeper into stillness, into rest. You notice a staircase now, narrow and creaking, leading upward to the rooms above. Slowly, as though drawn by something gentle, you ascend. Each step is steady, unhurried. At the top, a hallway stretches out, lined with doors that once opened 2 bedrooms filled with life. Tonight, one door is ajar, spilling a sliver of moonlight into the dark. Push it open and step inside. The room is small, but tender. A quilt rests across the bed, its patterns faded but intricate, hand-stitched with care long ago. The fabric carries the colors of autumn muted golds, soft reds, deep browns echoing the harvest fields outside. The air smells faintly of cedar and lavender, mingling into a fragrance that soothes the mind like a lullaby. Sit upon the bed. The mattress sighs gently beneath your weight, yielding without resistance. When you lie back, the quilt enfolds you in its quiet warmth. The pillow beneath your head carries the faintest memory of feathers, soft and yielding. Look to the window. From here, The fields stretch endlessly, the orchard sways faintly, the barn leans into shadow, the moonlight spilled across it all, transforming emptiness into silver peace. You realize that the land is not desolate. It is alive, but in a different way, alive with memory, alive with the echoes of gratitude and endurance. Close your eyes. Imagine yourself drifting in that silver light. The farmhouse becomes a cradle, the fields a blanket, the night sky a canopy above you. All around, the presence of those who came before still lingers, not as ghosts to haunt, but as guardians of calm. They whisper their harvest song low, steady, endless, and it matches the rhythm of your breath. You are part of the harvest now, not a harvest of grain, but a harvest of peace, of rest, of sleep. Inhale and exhale. Each breath grows softer, slower, heavier. Your body releases into the bed, into the quilt, into the hush of the farmhouse. The floorboards settle, the air grows still, and time itself seems to dissolve into the rhythm of dreams. Allow yourself to surrender. Allow the story to cradle you as though you are being rocked gently in the arms of the night. And as you drift, let this reminder echo softly in your mind. You are safe here. You are welcome here. You are held by this place and its memory. Now, let go. Let the farmhouse fade. Let the orchard dissolve. Let the lanterns and voices slip into silence. All that remains is rest, quiet, and endless. As the story fades, allow yourself to drift into a peaceful sleep. Good night, dear dreamer. May your rest be deep, may your dreams be kind, and may you always find comfort in the whispers of the night. And if you've found solace in this journey, I invite you gently to stay connected with us. Follow, subscribe, or share Midnight Murmurs Radio so that these stories may continue to cradle you night after night. For now, sleep well, sleep deeply, sleep peacefully. Asterisk, the dream does not end with silence. Somewhere beyond the quilt, beyond the farmhouse walls, a voice begins to hum, a sound that is neither inside nor outside, neither memory nor present. It is the voice of the land itself, weaving through the quiet as though pulling you further into its hidden story. You stir, but gently, as if floating. The room around you seems softer now, blurred by dreamlight. The edges of the window frame glow. The quilt feels weightless, and the very air carries the shimmer of something just beyond reach. Outside, the harvest fields stretch wide, bathed not in moonlight, but in a pale golden glow. Lecton bas. This is no ordinary morning. The light feels ancient, like the first light ever to fall upon this soil. You step out, and the ground greets you with a hum that resonates in your chest. As you walk across the fields, shapes begin to form. Not solid, not flesh, but outlined shadows of workers, bending, lifting, carrying baskets. Their faces are indistinct, blurred as though painted with water. Yet their movements are steady, purposeful. They move together in rhythm, not rushed, not frantic, but patient. These are not restless spirits. They are echoes of toil, of perseverance, of lives woven into the land. The ghost harvest has begun. One figure, taller than the rest, straightens from his work and turns his head as though sensing your presence. His face remains hidden, but the curve of his shoulders, the tilt of his head, speak of strength weathered by years. He does not approach, but he acknowledges you, and in that silent gesture, you feel a weight of history brush against your soul. The orchards, too, stir. Among the apple trees, more shadows gather. A woman with her hair bound in a scarf lifts a basket, her hands moving with quiet grace. A child darts between the rows, laughter without sound spilling like sunlight. They are not frightening. They are not lost. They are here because the land remembers them, and in remembering, it keeps them alive. The air thickens with the scent of apples, cedar, and earth. It is rich, grounding, yet touched with something unearthly. With each breath, you are pulled deeper, not into fear, but into wonder. You realize this is not just a harvest of crops. This is a harvest of memory, of every hand that has tilled the soil, every back that has bent in labor, every dream whispered beneath the stars. Generations upon generations, layered like rings of a tree, remain here. They linger not because they cannot leave, but because they choose to stay woven into the roots of the earth. Guardians of the land they once called home. You pause at the edge of the barn. Its great shadow looms larger now, but instead of menace, it carries weight like an old monument, scarred but enduring. Inside, you hear the faint scrape of tools, the creak of hayloft beams. Shapes shift in the darkness. A man adjusting a harness, another stacking bales, a woman sweeping the dust from the threshold. These are not ghosts in the way the world fears them. These are fragments of lives, stored and replayed by the land itself. Memory is its harvest, and you, tonight, are allowed to witness it. As you stand watching, the figures move past you without fear, without notice, like rivers flowing around a stone. They do not disturb you, and you do not disturb them. There is balance, here a peace in the unseen, a calm in what lies beyond the veil. Breathe deeply. Let this vision settle into you, not as fear, but as understanding. The ghost harvest is not about death, it is about continuity. It is about the stories that outlive us, the work that shapes the land long after hands are gone. The hum rises again, that same sound that guided you from your sleep. Now you recognize it. It is the harvest song, low and steady, sung not by one voice, but by many, layered across time. It is the rhythm of work, of survival, of belonging. You feel yourself swaying with it, as though part of the circle, as though your breath and heartbeat have joined the choir. The song is not haunting, it is calming, magnetic, eternal dot. And as the fields glow and the figures move, you know this chapter has only just begun. The land is opening its memory to you, showing you what lies beneath the quiet, beneath the peace. Not darkness, not despair, but the sacred persistence of life. The ghost harvest has welcomed you. The golden light of the fields shifts, and with it, so does the story. The harvest song continues, but now it carries undertones, layers of voices that rise and fall like waves. You notice something new within the glow. Something drawn not from a single lifetime, but from centuries. The fields of America have always been filled with hands. Some came here with hope, carrying seeds from distant lands. Others were brought against their will, shackled to soil they had never chosen. And still others were driven by necessity, fleeing hunger or hardship, finding in these endless acres a chance to begin again. The ghost harvest gathers them all. As you walk along the rows of crops, you see new figures join in the quiet procession. Their clothes change, their faces shift. A man in rough homespun linen works beside another in faded denim overalls. A woman in a calico dress bends close to the earth, while another in a kerchief wipes sweat from her brow. Time folds here, layer upon layer, until all who once touched this land share the same space. The air is filled with scents of corn, wheat, tobacco, and apples, each crop telling a story of labor, profit, and sacrifice. Some of these harvests brought prosperity, others brought exploitation, poverty, and division. But all are remembered. You notice the quiet determination in their movements. Even in silence, there is dignity. Every stoop, every lifted basket, every weary step is preserved. It is as if the land itself refuses to let them be forgotten. Among the shadows, you begin to sense individual stories. One figure is a young girl, no more than 12, her braids swinging as she carries a bundle of wheat. Her shadow flickers with memory. She was once part of a family of immigrants who arrived with nothing but a dream, building a life, row by row, in the soil. Another figure, broad-shouldered and stoic, carries a heavy sack across his back. The echo of his labor is heavier still. He worked not for himself, but for the wealth of others, bound by chains invisible now, but not erased. These are not nightmares. They are truths whispered gently, laid bare in the stillness of night. The ghost harvest does not frighten. It teaches. It reminds. The barn ahead glows faintly now, as if lit from within by memories of countless seasons. You see the shapes of gatherings, their barn, dances, celebrations at the end of a hard season, but also hushed meetings, workers speaking quietly of wages withheld, of strikes and solidarity. The walls remember laughter and grief alike. The orchard whispers, too. The apples glisten like lanterns, each one holding the reflection of those who picked them. Among the trees, you sense the presence of migrant workers, moving from state to state, following the rhythm of harvest. Their shadows stretch long, their voices rise in forgotten songs, carried now on the wind that brushes through the branches. The ghost harvest does not separate joy from sorrow. It holds spot, balancing them like dusk holds both sunlight and shadow. And as you watch, you realize this is the essence of history itself, not a single story, but a weaving of many. You step deeper into the glow. The figures do not vanish. Instead, they part around you, allowing you to walk among them. Their silence is not emptiness, it is invitation. An invitation to remember, to honor. For a moment, you close your eyes. You breathe in the earth's perfume, the scent of tilled soil, of sweat, of rain long past, but still alive in memory, and as you breathe, you feel it settle into your chest. The weight of those who worked, those who dreamed, those who endured. The harvest song grows fuller now, layered with harmonies. You recognize the threads: African spirituals, Irish laments, Mexican folk tunes, indigenous chants, voices from every direction, bound together, weaving one great tapestry of endurance and belonging. The song does not mourn. It does not rage. It simply exists, steady and eternal, reminding you that every life, no matter how overlooked, leaves a trace. As you open your eyes again, the figures fade slightly, blurring at the edges, yet the feeling remains. They are here, always, watching over the land they shaped. They are the roots, beneath the soil, the wind through the grass, the hush in the barn at night. The ghost harvest is not only about the past, it is about the present moment. This breath you take, this heartbeat you feel, it is the reminder that you, too, are part of the story, your life, your labor. Your dreams will one day become echoes, folded gently into the memory of the earth. The fields grow quieter now, the song softening to a hum. You feel yourself swaying once more, as though rocked by the land itself, safe in its embrace. The journey is not over. There are more truths to discover, more whispers hidden in the night. For now, let the calm settle. Let the golden light cradle you. The ghost harvest will keep its watch until you are ready to walk again. Asterisk, the night deepens, though time here does not move as it does in the waking world. The glow across the fields softens into a haze, as though mist has risen from the earth itself. The outlines of workers blur, their movements slowing until they seem more like memories than shadows. You stand at the edge of the orchard, where the apples shimmer faintly in the golden light. For a moment, the wind stills. The silence is not empty, but full, so full you can almost hear the pulse of the land itself. And then, softly, almost the orchard begins to whisper. It is not a single voice, nor many. It is the sound of leaves brushing against one another, of branches swaying without wind, of roots shifting deep below the soil. The sound forms into words you cannot fully understand, yet you feel them settle in your chest. They are not meant to frighten you. They are meant to remind you. The orchard remembers. You take a step forward, and the ground beneath your feet feels different, springier, as though layered with countless footprints. Some were light, belonging to children who once played among these trees. Others were heavy, pressed deep with exhaustion, the weight of baskets carried day after day. You realize you are not just walking through space, you are walking across time. A sudden chill brushes against your arm. It is not harsh, not sharp, but gentle, like the touch of a passing breeze. Yet when you turn, you see a faint shape standing at the edge of the orchard. It is a boy, no more than 10. His outline flickers, as though painted in moonlight. He stands with one hand resting against a tree trunk, watching you with eyes you cannot quite see. For a moment, you feel the hush of history tighten around you. The boy does not move, does not speak, but you feel his presence like a memory that has returned to find you. and then just as softly as he appeared he fades, dissolving into the golden haze. The orchard grows quiet again, but the silence is deeper now, layered with something unseen. You sense that what you witnessed was not an accident. The land reveals what it chooses, when it chooses. And tonight, it is chosen to show you more. From the barn comes another sound. At first, it is the ordinary groan of wooden beams settling in the night. But soon, it takes on a rhythm, a steady creak, like the sway of a rocking chair. The sound is soothing, hypnotic, drawing you closer. Inside, the barn glows faintly with golden dust. Shadows shift along the rafters, yet they do not disturb. Instead, they move in a pattern, circling gently, as if echoing a dance long forgotten. You see the faint shape of lanterns strung along beams, glowing not with flame, but with memory. Couples sway slowly to music you cannot hear, their outlines blurring as they turn. For a moment, you are caught between worlds. The barn as it is, now empty, weathered, silent, and the barn as it was then alive, filled with laughter, song, and the warmth of community. And then, faintly, the music begins. It starts as a hum, then grows into the soft twang of a fiddle, the low strum of a guitar. The notes float through the barn like dust motes in sunlight, and though you cannot see the musicians, you feel the joy of their presence. The music is not haunting. It is tender, fragile, almost wistful, as though remembering itself while being remembered. You let the sound wash over you. It does not demand your attention. It simply exists, flowing through you like a lullaby. Each note carries you deeper into stillness, deeper into the dream. But within the music, another sound stirs distant, low, like a murmur. You pause, listening carefully. The fiddle fades, the guitar softens, and in the silence that follows, the murmur grows. It is not a voice, not exactly. It is more like the vibration of something vast and unseen, resonating through the barn's wooden frame, through the orchard beyond, through the soil beneath your feet. It is the memory of everything that has ever happened. Hear the laughter, the toil, the sorrow, the hope compressed into a single tone. You realize you are not alone. You never have been. The land is alive with memory, and it has been watching all along. You close your eyes, letting the sound move through you. It does not frighten. It cradles. It tells you, you are part of this story now. Every breath you take, every step you walk, is another layer in the harvest of memory. When you open your eyes, the barn is quiet again. The music has faded, the shadows have stilled, and the golden haze drifts gently across the fields once more. You exhale slowly, and the world exhales with you. The ghost harvest holds its secrets close, but tonight it has shared enough for you to feel its presence, and though the night is not yet finished, you feel yourself lulled deeper, carried gently toward sleep by the hum of history itself. The fields hold more than memory. They hold the weight of choices, some made in hope, others in silence, and many in desperation. Choices that shaped lives, divided families, and carved scars into the soil that even centuries cannot erase. As you walk through the haze of the ghost harvest, you feel these choices pressing gently around you. They are not loud. They do not cry out. Instead, they linger like the faint scent of smoke long after a fire has passed. Near the orchard, the air grows heavier. You see faint outlines, families gathered around the wagon, their belongings piled high, their faces blurred. They are preparing to leave, though they do not want to. The land that once fed them now refuses. Drought has cracked the soil, crops have failed, and the whispers of debt have driven them away. You watch as their figures climb onto the wagon, children clutching at blankets, parents holding one last handful of earth before they depart. The image shimmers, then fades, leaving only the sound of wheels creaking across memory. This is one of the stories the ghost harvest keeps. The long migrations of those who sought survival when the land turned against them. The Dust Bowl years. The Great Depression. Families uprooted, carried westward, searching for something better, but often finding hardship anew. The fields remember that further along, you sense another kind of shadow, not of leaving, but of being left behind. A man stands alone, his broad frame bent beneath the weight of an invisible burden. His hat is pulled low, his outline dark against the glow. Around him, the fields stretch endlessly, yet he seems trapped. He worked the land with everything he had, but ownership was never his. The harvest fed others, filled the coffers of men whose names he never spoke, while he and his kin scraped by with nothing. The ghost harvest carries his silence, his unspoken grief, and his pride. Even now, the land holds his echo. And still, there are deeper shadows. Some are harder to face. In the stillness, you hear the faint clank of chains, not loud, not sharp, but soft, carried like a memory on the wind. You see no figure at first, only the earth shifting as if beneath heavy steps. Then, slowly, outlines emerge. Men and women whose labor was taken, whose sweat was claimed by others. Their shapes do not look at you. They keep their eyes lowered, their bodies bent to invisible tasks. Yet the land remembers them. Every furrow plowed, every row planted, every harvest gathered. Their presence is undeniable, woven into the soil itself. They, too, are part of the ghost harvest, and the earth carries their truth with a quiet insistence that cannot be erased. You breathe slowly, letting the heaviness settle. It is not meant to burden you, it is meant to teach you. The ghost harvest is not only about peace and wonder, it is also about honesty, about remembering what was lost and who was forgotten. Only in remembrance can the land heal. The barn whispers again, but this time the sounds are different. Not music, not laughter, but voices hushed in worry. Workers gathering late at night, whispering about wages that never came, about promises broken. You can almost hear the scrape of boots on wood, the low murmur of plans, the fragile spark of hope that things might change. Some voices tremble with fear. Others steady themselves with determination. Their figures blur, yet their emotions linger. The barn holds both their fear and their courage. The ghost harvest shows you not to frighten, but to remain. Every joy, every sorrow, Every injustice has left its imprint, and these imprints, together, form the true story of the land. As you continue, the haze deepens, softening every outline. The sorrow begins to quiet, folding itself back into the soil. The whispers grow gentler, fading to hums, as though the land itself does not want you to be lost in grief. It only wants you to understand. You pause, breathing slowly. Inhale. Exhale. The air carries both sorrow and serenity, both weight and release. You feel them balance within you. The ghost harvest is not about haunting for its own sake. It is about showing the full spectrum of what has been carried here, the joy and the music, but also the silence and the pain. To walk among it is to see the fullness of life, even in death. And so you walk, slowly, calmly, letting the weight of the past drift through you. You do not cling to it. You honor it, and then you let it pass. Above the stars glimmer faintly, barely seen through the haze. They remind you, even in the darkest chapters, there was always light. The ghost harvest carries that light too, waiting to be found in the quiet. And as you step deeper into the fields, you realize the story is not finished. The land still has more to share, more voices to unveil, more truths to whisper. The night continues, and you are still within it. Asterisk, the night has grown deeper now, though the stars remain veiled behind the golden haze of the harvest. The land itself seems to breathe in rhythm with you, long, slow inhalations, followed by soft, patient exhalations. Each breath draws you further from the waking world, further into the dream that the ghost harvest has chosen to reveal. It begins with light. At first, it flickers faintly across the orchard, like fireflies drifting between the rows of trees. But these lights do not dart or flit, they hover, steady and serene, pulsing with a glow that feels almost alive. One appears near your hand, floating close enough that you can see its shimmer. It does not burn, it does not blind. Instead, it glows like a lantern, soft and golden, warming you from within altar's gator, weaving between the branches, casting gentle patterns against the barn's weathered boards. The orchard no longer feels empty. It feels inhabited not by figures of toil, not by sorrow, but by presences both delicate and eternal. These are the souls of the harvest, though they are not bound by grief. They drift in silence, yet their silence is filled with welcome. You feel them around you, not pressing, not demanding, simply present. Guardians, perhaps, or memories given form. You reach out your hand, and one of the lights hovers closer. For a moment, the air hums softly, as though acknowledging you, and though you cannot hear words, you feel something settle in your chest, a reminder that you are not merely an observer. You are a participant in this communion of memory. The barn responds to the lights. Its wooden beams begin to shimmer, not with dust, but with faint silver lines, as though its very frame remembers all it has seen. You hear again the low creak of the rocking chair, but this time the sound carries a rhythmly, steady and slow dat, and then from the loft above a new presence stirs. A shadow descends, not sharp but fluid, forming into the outline of a woman. Her dress sways gently, as if caught in a breeze that does not exist. She moves with grace, her hands brushing along the wooden rail as though caressing the barn itself. Her face is blurred, her features indistinct, but her presence is unmistakably tender. She pauses at the center of the barn and lifts her head, as if listening. And then you hear it too. A lullaby. The sound is faint, woven of breath and silence, but it carries. The melody drifts through the barn, through the orchard, across the fields. It is neither joyous nor sorrowful, but timeless and offering of calm, of rest. The figures of the past, the workers and wanderers, the farmers and children all seem to soften within its song. You stand still, letting the lullaby wash over you. Each note slows your breath, eases the weight from your shoulders, draws you closer to sleep. The lights pulse in rhythm with the song. The barn glows like a lantern. The fields shimmer as if kissed by dawn. Yet this is no sunrise. This is the ghost harvest, unveiling itself in its gentlest form. A place where the living and the remembered meet in peace. As you close your eyes, the lullaby deepens. You see, not with sight, but with memory. 1,000 harvests pass before you, the laughter of families sharing meals in the fields, the creak of wagons heavy with grain, the quiet prayers whispered before storms. Each moment flickers like a candle, brief but eternal. When you open your eyes again, the woman's outline has begun to fade. The song lingers, but softer now, as though carried away on a distant wind. The lights drift upward, one by one, until they resemble stars suspended just above the orchard. The silence that follows is not empty. It is full, brimming with calm. You feel it surround you like a quilt, tucking you in, soothing you into stillness. Breathe deeply. Inhale the earth's memory. Exhale your worries. The ghost harvest holds them now, safely, gently, without judgment. You realize this is what the land has been guiding you toward all along. Not fear, not sorrow, but acceptance, the knowledge that all who came before are still here, not as restless spirits, but as guardians of the quiet. The night stretches slow and endless. The barn, the orchard, the fields, each glows faintly, like embers at rest. The lullaby fades into a hum, and the hum into silence. The ghost harvest does not vanish. It remains, just beyond reach, waiting in the quiet, patient as the earth itself. And you, standing within its embrace, feel yourself surrendering to sleep, gently, peacefully, as though carried on the breath of the land. The night has reached its quietest hour. The orchard lies in stillness, the barn's timbers resting beneath the hush of the stars, and the fields breathe like a vast sleeping body. You remain within this space, a guest of the ghost harvest, held by the silence that is no longer empty but alive with memory. There is a softness here, one that feels eternal. The lights that once shimmered across the branches now float higher, scattering into the heavens until they resemble a second sky layered upon the first. You look upward, and for a moment you cannot tell where the stars end and the souls begin. The lullaby lingers faintly, almost imagined, a thread of sound woven into the wind. Its melody seems less like a song now and more like a heartbeat, slow, steady, infinite. As you listen, your own heart finds its rhythm within it, syncing with something older, something vaster than yourself. The shadow of the woman is gone, yet her presence endures, infused into the barn's beams, the orchard's roots, the soil beneath your feet. You realize she was never meant to be a figure of fear. She was a memory embodied, a caretaker of the harvest who chose to remain not in sorrow, but in tenderness. Around you, the land whispers, not in words, but in impressions, warmth, acceptance, belonging. You sense the countless lives that once moved across these fields, men and women, children and elders, strangers and kin all, leaving traces, threads woven into the fabric of this place. Their harvest was more than crops. It was lao. It was loss. It was endurance. And now it is peace. The barn exhales a final sigh, a creak that sounds almost like gratitude. The orchard glimmers, as though nodding farewell. The night folds inward, wrapping you in a quilt of calm. You sit, or perhaps you lie, within this sanctuary. It is no longer important where your body rests. What matters is that you are held here, as though the land itself has drawn you close. Each breath sinks you deeper. Each exhale loosens the last remnants of waking thought. Inhale slowly. Feel the coolness of the night, touched by the sweetness of hay and earth. Exhale gently. Release your burdens into the soil, where they dissolve and vanish. The ghost harvest accepts them all. Your eyes grow heavier now, lids weighted, not by exhaustion but by comfort. The stars blur softly above you. The hum of silence rocks you like a cradle. Somewhere far away, the world of waking still spins with its noise and demands. But here, within this timeless moment, you are free of it. The ghost harvest has given you its gift, rest. You sense the threshold drawing near the edge of sleep, where consciousness drifts like a boat into fog. Do not resist it. Let the current guide you. Let the lullaby carry you across. The barn fades first, its silhouette dissolving into the night. Then the orchard, its branches merging with the stars. The fields dissolve into a golden haze, leaving nothing but the rhythm of breath and the warmth of memory. Soon there is only darkness, but it is not a void. It is a soft, endless expanse, like velvet against your skin. Within it you float, weightless, safe. The ghost harvest remains, unseen but eternal, watching over you as you drift. Breathe in, breathe out. Let go as her thoughts scatter into dreams. Know that you are never alone. The harvest endures. The guardians endure. And you, too, are part of this vast and quiet circle. So now, let the story fade. Allow yourself to surrender. Allow the night to cradle you in its arms. You are safe. Juar. You are home. Sleep. Now, peacefully, deeply, carried by the gentle embrace of the ghost harvest. And as you drift, Remember, Midnight Murmurs Radio will be here again to guide you into the coziest dreams, the calmest nights, the most magical rest. Until then, may your sleep be serene and your spirit light. Thank you for joining me tonight in this Ghost Harvest sleep story. If you found peace and comfort in this journey, I invite you to stay close to our Midnight Murmurs Radio family. Gently press subscribe so you'll never miss another bedtime story, another night of calm, another whisper into dreams. May your rest be the coziest, your dreams the most magical, and your heart at ease as you drift deeper into sleep. Until we meet again, know that you are safe, you are cared for, and you are home. Good night and sweet dreams.